Hi, this is Bill the Techno Gypsy. In this video, I'm going to discuss the C200 and how it fits into my workflow on making YouTube videos. Understand that I didn't upgrade to a C200 as a cine camera just for YouTube videos. This is also used for corporate work, and that's where it pays for itself. The bread and butter comes from. But in this video, I wanted to show you how I use this camera and some of the pitfalls I've run into and learning experiences of working on it in YouTube videos. First off, this is a video camera. So usually when I'm shooting on a video, the C200 is my A camera, and then I use over here my 5D Mark IV with C-Log 2 is my B camera. I use this camera, my main camera here is my 1DX Mark II. And I use it for high-speed 120 FPS slow motion work because the autofocus on the 1DX Mark II is phenomenal, even in 120 FPS shooting mode, and you get buttery smooth slow motion. So let's go over the C200 and start with it. This is a cine camera. It has two XLR inputs for your audio with a 24-bit audio recorder, so I don't need to carry around a separate Sound Designs digital recorder for my audio side. It comes in with two XLRs. It's got dual SD card slots. This is only used for 8-bit recording. It cannot record RAW back here, but it's B709 or XFAF AVC. And then it comes over here to a C-Fast card. The C-Fast card is where you record the 12-bit log RAW footage, and then you can transcode this down to 422 or 444, so 12-bit or 10-bit. It does have the full complement of controls that you'll find on virtually every cine camera out there for ISO, otherwise known as gain, your neutral density filters, white balance, quite a few of the other things. Well, let me tell you on my transition on learning to use this camera. I started out with it and worked quite a bit with it in the studio. And you see, I had seen a lot of YouTube videos and everything was pushing all of my L-type lenses that I have for my 1DX Mark II and my 5D Mark IV. So this is a 16-35 f2.8L. I've got it. I run primes and the full trinity on the lenses on the zooms, and they're wonderful for photography. But it changes because this is a cine camera. And I will say that when I use these L lenses on this cine camera in a controlled lighting environment like the studio, it works exceptionally. One of the problems I had was when I went outside, and because of the changing light conditions and everything, I got some washed out video footage, and trying to recover it became a real headache, and I spent a lot of time doing that. So as far as my lens complements when I'm in the studio, 16-35 f2.8. For low light, I use my Sigma 18-35. This is a 1.8 lens. It is a wonderful lens, APS-C, and I'll explain that. And I tried this lens. This is my older 24-105 L lens. That I tried this outside because it's got image stabilization and it's sitting at a f4. And I had some issues with that. So I started looking around and I got into the whole learning experience of what a cine camera is and cine lenses versus a photography camera with photography lenses. So the realities that I've learned are a DSLR is a photography camera. L-series lenses are pretty much set for studio use and for the photography. Trying to do this as a run and gun, I got into the problem that the internal metering is pretty sluggish on the aperture on this. It's got a lot of wonderful capabilities, but it's also a Super 35 sensor versus a full frame sensor on my 1DX Mark II in my 5D Mark IV. So when you're putting on the full-size sensor lenses, you know, you're going to have the change of the 1.6 on the length, or the lens length. When you go to the 18 to 35 Sigma f1.8, it's a beautiful lens, super clear, works great in low light conditions, but again, it can't control the aperture automatically if you're out doing kind of a run and gun or shooting outside. So I looked at the lens that's recommended for this, and you come up to the kind of the cheapest lens, or the best lens out there is all around, is the 18 to 80 ENG lens from Canon. It is a true parfocal cine lens. So it runs in T-stops instead of f-stops. You know, the f-stops are whenever we change the aperture and we can feel the clicks that go between it on a photography lens. On a cine lens, a T-stop, there are no clicks. So you can actually vary the aperture from all the way open to all the way closed in a smooth motion, and you can adjust it as needed. The other thing is cine lenses are usually set in T-stops versus f-stops, because if I set an let's say an f3.5 on this lens, and on this lens, on a photography lens, they may not be the same on the amount of light that's actually hitting the sensor, versus on a cine lens with T-stops, if I set it at T 3.5, I can put any cine lens on this camera body, set it to 3.5, and I know that I've got the same exposure. So going around all those issues, I hit the problem that I said, well, I guess I'll need to upgrade to the 18 to 80 ENG lens from Canon for this camera. Well, that's a $5,000 lens. You know, these are bad enough when we get into the L series glass, which is beautiful glass on the DSLRs. And the $5,000 price is a kind of an entry-level price on a cine lens. And it comes in at an f4, or they call it a T4.4, but it comes in an f4. It does have built-in image stabilization, and it has full aperture control, and it's fully parfocal throughout the zoom range. So instead of doing that, I started looking around on this camera, because I really do like shooting with a C200. What I found was, when you look at it, that it's an APS-C sensor, and you read the manual on the Canon manual, it talks about it's the EF-S lenses, in other words, the old APS-C lenses, that you would use to have the auto aperture. So I decided to go ahead and try that, and I picked up a EF-S 18 to 135 STM lens, sitting right here. It's f3.5, and then changes at about 70 millimeters to 5.6. But I paid $209 for this lens in E+ condition from Adorama. As I've been going through the testing on this lens, I have been pleasantly surprised that the automatic iris system works beautifully. I get a very good consistent video image, and my recordings they're good now. Instead of washing out when the sun goes behind a cloud, or all of a sudden something changes and the lighting conditions change out there, and then I've got highlights overexposed and all sorts of other problems. There are times when you just want to put it in automatic mode. Automatic aperture works well for me. So I hope I haven't just been rambling on, and that I kind of made some sense on this as to going over some of the things that I do on my C200 and how I'm putting it into my workflow as I learn this camera system more and more. Now, like I said, in the studio here, when I'm using this as my A camera, I'll do the f2.8 16 to 35. The glass is phenomenal glass. This is just an EF-S lens. It's good, but it's not going to match the color clarity and the sharpness of the L series lens. But what I usually do is I set this up as my A camera, go ahead and record on the CFast card in 12-bit, and then I use my 5D Mark IV, which I'm right now using as the B camera on this setup. And since it has C-Log built in, then I can match the video footage very quickly and very easily between the two cameras. Like I said, right now I'm shooting on my 1DX Mark II as the A camera. 5D Mark IV is still the B camera. With the neutral density Peter McKinnon Polar Pro neutral density filter up on the front of it to drop the depth of field down. But overall, back to this guy, this thing is a little bit heavier, but it's got a lot of capabilities, and I've been having a great time getting into the cine side of photography. I just wanted to share with all of you out there that it is a major change moving over from photography with my L lenses on my DSLRs and really starting to get into the cine side of the photography and how it works. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting. If so, and you liked my content, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. So this is Bill, the Techno Gypsy, saying 7-3 and God bless.